The WNBA world is in an absolute frenzy today after a series of vicious leaks and shock announcements that have left the legendary Sheryl Swoopes officially out of a job again. In a move that many are calling the ultimate Caitlin Clark karma, reports have surfaced that Swoopes has been removed from her latest high-profile position, and this time, the Hall of Famer isn't going down without a fight. In an explosive series of leaked comments, Swoopes is reportedly blaming Caitlin Clark and the toxic media circus surrounding the Fever star for her sudden downfall. While the league has remained largely silent, insiders suggest that the systematic removal of Swoopes from major 2026 broadcasting and advisory roles is a direct result of her refusal to align with the new era of the WNBA. The tension reached a breaking point when Swoopes allegedly doubled down on her dangerous critiques of Clark's impact, leading to a status quo crisis that the league office simply couldn't ignore. It's a hit job, one source close to Swoopes claimed. They are erasing a pioneer to protect a rookie. Is this the final destruction of Sheryl Swoopes' legacy, or is she the first vicious victim of a league that has become obsessed with a single player? As the 2026 season approaches, the shoe war, the ref scandals, and now the Swoopes firing are all colliding into one massive billion-dollar disaster. Today, we're peeling back the layers of the Clark conspiracy, the real reason Sheryl was shown the door, and the hidden truth about the internal war for the soul of women's basketball. The narrative isn't just changing, it's being demolished. Let's dive into the fire. The 2026 WNBA offseason was supposed to be a celebration of the league's 30th anniversary, but instead, it has turned into a vicious game of musical chairs. On January 21, 2026, a press release from Athletes Unlimited, AU Pro Basketball sent shockwaves through the community. While the headline touted the return of Sheryl Swoopes and Cindy Brunson for their 5th season, the hidden truth was buried in the fine print. Swoopes' role had been significantly diluted, with the high-profile addition of Sydney Colson and a new rotating cast of analysts. But the real disaster occurred just days later. Reports began to leak that Swoopes had been quietly removed from several marquee WNBA app and ESPN specialty broadcasts for the upcoming 2026 season. This isn't just a scheduling conflict, it's being hailed as the Great Erasure. After her controversial 2024 removal from a Dallas Wings Indiana Fever broadcast, where she was replaced by Nancy Lieberman, the systematic distancing of the league from its first-ever signee has reached a breaking point. Swoopes isn't just losing airtime, she's losing her platform in the very league she helped build. The blame game, blaming the Clark effect. In a series of raw, unfiltered comments allegedly made during a private podcast taping in late January 2026, Sheryl Swoopes didn't hold back. According to insiders, Swoopes is openly blaming Caitlin Clark and the toxic fandom surrounding the Indiana Fever star for her professional downfall. "You can't have an opinion anymore if it doesn't worship the rookie," Swoopes reportedly stated. "I've been in this game for 30 years. I've won 4 titles and 3 MVPs. But because I said there would be an adjustment period for Caitlin, I'm suddenly the villain?" The league is so desperate for those Caitlin dollars that they are willing to fire the pioneers who laid the floor she's walking on. This vicious accusation touches on a sensitive nerve in 2026. Is the WNBA office so terrified of the Caitlin stans that they are actively blackballing legends who offer even a hint of objective criticism? Swoopes believes she is being made an example of, a warning to any other veteran who dares to question the sainthood of the new generation. The Nike veto. Did the swoosh step in? Perhaps the most dangerous theory circulating in the 2026 shoe war landscape involves the $28 million woman herself. Rumors have surfaced that Nike executives, who are currently preparing for the global launch of the Caitlin Clark CC1, have expressed concerns about Swoopes' continued presence on high-profile broadcasts. The vicious irony? Sheryl Swoopes was the first woman to ever have a Nike signature shoe, the Air Swoopes. But in 2026, Nike is pivoting hard toward the Clark era. Sources suggest that Nike's marketing team wants a unified narrative for their billion-dollar investment. Having a Hall of Famer on the mic who consistently points out Clark's turnovers or shooting slumps doesn't fit the perfect image Nike is selling. It's a corporate hit job, a marketing insider noted. Nike doesn't just buy the shoes, they buy the airwaves. If Sheryl is perceived as anti-Clark, she becomes a liability to the Nike stock price. In the 2026 economy, the swoosh has more power than the league office. The ref scandal connection. silence as a weapon. Swoopes' firing also coincides with the ongoing ref grading scandal of 2026. As the CBA negotiations remain stalled, the league has been accused of protecting the stars to ensure high ratings. Swoopes has been one of the few voices calling for old-school physicality, often praising players like Chindi Carter for their aggressive defense on Clark. By removing Swoopes from the broadcast booth, the league is effectively silencing one of the only analysts who refuses to play nice. The league's silence on the matter is deafening. They aren't issuing a formal termination notice. They are simply rotating her out of the spotlight until she becomes a ghost of the game. For a pioneer like Sheryl, this passive-aggressive firing is more insulting than a pink slip. The hidden truth. Jealousy or justice. While Swoopes supporters call it a conspiracy, her critics call it justice. They point back to her 2024 comments where she incorrectly stated Clark was a 25-year-old taking 40 shots a game. Despite Swoopes' eventual apology, the vicious narrative that she is jealous of Clark's fame has never left the social media zeitgeist. In 2026, the court of public opinion is more powerful than any Hall of Fame resume. Sheryl didn't get fired because of Caitlyn. She got fired because she couldn't stay professional, one popular WNBA vlogger noted. Facts matter in the booth. If you can't get the stats right because your bias is too strong, you shouldn't have the mic. But Sheryl Swoopes isn't just an analyst, she is a founder. To fire her for having an opinion on the game she mastered is a move that many believe will backfire. By erasing Swoopes, the WNBA is risking a total revolt from the old guard, and the fans who remember the league before it was a billion-dollar machine. Closing part 1. Sheryl Swoopes is out, Caitlyn Clark is taking over, and the WNBA is a house divided. Is this a masterclass in branding by the league or a vicious betrayal of its greatest history? Swoopes is blaming the Clark effect. Nike is allegedly pulling the strings, and the fans are left to choose a side. We're going to look at the leaked emails. What did the league office really say about Swoopes' removal? We'll dive into the Sydney Colson promotion. Is the vicious move to elevate a younger voice a direct slap in the face to Sheryl? And finally, we'll see the Caitlyn Clark response. Has the rookie finally spoken out about the woman who has been her loudest critic? The destruction of the legacy is only getting started. While the headlines scream about Sheryl Swoopes being fired, the real vicious detail lies in who is being moved into her spotlight. On January 21st, 2026, Athletes Unlimited AU officially announced their broadcast team for the Nashville season. While Sheryl was technically listed as a returning analyst, her role has been visibly crowded by the meteoric rise of Sydney Colson. Colson, a two-time WNBA champion and the undisputed queen of vibes, has been given a newly created, high-energy role that blends in-game analysis with a social media-first digital series. To the outside world, it's a smart move to capture a younger audience. But to Swoopes' inner circle, it's a calculated replacement. By elevating a player who is known for being fun, safe, and media-friendly, the league and AU are effectively diluting the serious, often critical, Hall of Fame voice of Sheryl Swoopes. They don't want a legend who critiques the footwork of the stars, a source from the AU production team leaked. They want a hype man. Sydney is hilarious and the fans love her, but she's also not going to go on a podcast and tell the world that Caitlyn Clark still has to prove herself. By bringing in Sid to host the halftime shows and the digital series, they've essentially put Sheryl in a corner where her voice doesn't carry the same weight. The Nike boardroom leak, protecting the CC1. The most dangerous theory of 2026 isn't just about broadcasting. It's about the $28 million investment currently sitting in a vault at Nike HQ. As we approach the spring 2026 launch of the Nike CC1, the marketing machine is in overdrive. The From Anywhere ad campaign, featuring Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers, is designed to make Caitlyn Clark the most unassailable brand in sports history. Leaked memos from a high-level marketing meeting in Beaverton suggest that brand sentiment is the #1 priority for the CC1 rollout. We cannot have the Air Swoopes legacy contradicting the CC1 narrative, the memo allegedly read. Sheryl Swoopes, the woman who started the Nike signature era for women, is now being viewed as a negative influencer. The vicious truth? If Sheryl is on a WNBA app broadcast calling out Clark's defensive lapses or her turnover rate, it creates a friction that Nike's algorithm doesn't like. There are rumors that Nike strongly encouraged the league to prioritize analysts who are aligned with the future direction of the brand. In 2026, the swoosh doesn't just design the shoes, it designs the conversation. Sheryl Swoopes isn't just fighting a rookie. She's fighting a global corporate juggernaut that has already decided her time is up. The Sydney versus Sheryl dynamic, a house divided. The irony of the Sydney Colson promotion is that Colson herself has often joked that she is the Sheryl Swoopes of AU. But in 2026, that joke has taken on a vicious edge. While Sydney and Sheryl appear professional on camera, the internal atmosphere in Nashville is reportedly tense. Sydney Colson represents the new WNBA, social media savvy, self-deprecating, and perfectly in tune with the Caitlyn era. Sheryl Swoopes represents the old guard, tough, unapologetic, and demanding of respect for the pioneers. By forcing these two into the same broadcast booth, AU has created a vicious social experiment. Fans are already noticing the league's silence on the veteran/rookie rift, and they are watching the AU broadcasts not just for the hoops, but for the microaggressions in the commentary. The CBA silence and the legacy crisis. Swoopes' marginalization is also happening against the backdrop of the 2026 CBA war. With players officially authorizing a strike and negotiations entering a status quo period, the league office is desperate for positive PR. They need the Caitlin Clark growth narrative to be the only thing the sponsors see. Sheryl Swoopes, by being a truth teller who highlights the vicious physicality and the unnatural power shifts in the league, has become a liability to the deal. The owners want to sell a polished billion-dollar product, a labor analyst noted. Sheryl wants to talk about the grit and the mistakes and the eras that came before. That doesn't help the valuation of the Toronto or Portland expansion teams. They want analysts who sell the future, not analysts who remind everyone of the past. Blaming Caitlyn, the toxic fandom factor. In part 1, we touched on Sheryl blaming the Clark effect. But the hidden truth is that Swoopes isn't just blaming the player. She's blaming the toxic fandom that has made her life a vicious nightmare. Sources close to Swoopes claim she has received thousands of death threats and coordinated harassment campaigns from what she calls the Caitlyn cult. Every time she makes a factual observation about Clark's game, her social media is flooded with jealousy accusations. Swoopes believes the league is capitulating to this toxicity by removing her from broadcasts rather than defending a Hall of Famer's right to have an opinion. If the fans can fire a legend, then the league has lost its soul. Swoopes allegedly told a fellow legend in a leaked phone call. I'm being fired by a bunch of people who didn't even know the WNBA existed 3 years ago. And the league is letting it happen because they want the clicks. Closing part 2. The Swoopes firing isn't a simple HR move. It's a corporate realignment. Nike wants a clean runway for the CC1. The WNBA wants a safe narrative for the CBA negotiations. And the new guard, led by Sydney Colson, is ready to take the mic. Sheryl Swoopes is standing in the middle of a storm, blaming the Clark effect for a vicious erasure that feels more like a hit job every day. We're going to look at the final showdown. What happened when Sheryl and Nancy Lieberman crossed paths in Miami? We'll dive into the Caitlyn Clark statement. Has the superstar finally addressed the Swoopes scandal directly? And finally, the verdict for 2026. Can Sheryl Swoopes ever reclaim her throne, or has the swoosh officially retired the queen? The destruction of the narrative is entering its final stage. As the Athletes Unlimited AU season officially kicks off in Nashville this February 2026, the spotlight isn't just on the players, it's on the broadcast booth. While the systematic firing rumors suggested Sheryl Swoopes would be erased entirely, the hidden truth is far more complex. Swoopes is back, but the environment has become a vicious pressure cooker. The addition of Sydney Colson to the broadcast team wasn't just a friendly expansion, it was a philosophical pivot. For the first time in 5 seasons, Sheryl Swoopes is no longer the undisputed alpha voice of the broadcast. In Nashville, the tension is palpable. Sources close to the production claim that during a rehearsal on January 28, 2026, there was a spirited disagreement regarding how to analyze the incoming class of rookies. Swoopes, ever the purist, reportedly pushed for a viciously objective breakdown of their flaws, while the new production directives emphasized a fan-first, hype-driven narrative. This is the 2026 firing in slow motion. They haven't taken her job yet, but they've taken her autonomy. The Sunday Night Basketball shock, Caitlyn's new mic. While Sheryl is fighting for airtime in Nashville, the Clark effect has officially moved into the broadcast booth. In a move that sent the old guard into a tailspin, Caitlin Clark has officially joined NBC's pregame coverage for Sunday Night Basketball. Her debut at Madison Square Garden for the Lakers-Knicks game on January 28, 2026, was a masterclass in modern branding. To Swoopes supporters, this is the ultimate vicious irony. While a Hall of Famer and pioneer like Sheryl is being rotated and diluted, a second-year pro is being handed the keys to the biggest media platforms in the world. Aaliyah Boston herself dropped a two-word reaction to the news, simply saying she's ready, further highlighting the league's silence on the veteran versus rookie rift. By handing Caitlin a mic before she's even finished her second season, the media industry has sent a clear message to Sheryl Swoopes. The game doesn't need your facts if they don't sell the future. The jealousy verdict, Nancy Lieberman's final word. The most vicious blow to Swoopes' legacy, however, came from her former friend and fellow legend, Nancy Lieberman. In a January 2026 update to their fractured relationship, Lieberman doubled down on her stance that jealousy has no place in the game. The hidden truth behind their feud, which reportedly ended over a fact-checking phone call, is that the WNBA's legends are being forced to pick a side. You are either with the cash cow, as Lieberman calls Caitlin, or you are against the progress of the league. Swoopes' refusal to bow down has made her an island. In 2026, being a truth-teller who points out that Caitlin ain't got sh*t I want, as she allegedly stated in a leaked podcast clip, has become a career-ending stance. The destruction of their friendship is the ultimate symbol of a league that has lost its unity in the pursuit of a billion-dollar valuation. The ref scandal and the protected narrative. As the CBA negotiations remain completely stalled in early 2026, the Swoopes firing narrative has become a convenient distraction. While the players and owners fight over revenue sharing and charter flights, the league office is using the new guard broadcasters to keep the fans focused on the highlights. Sheryl Swoopes was the one voice who consistently brought up the vicious physicality of the 1990s, a style that many believe would destroy the modern, protected stars. By phasing her out, the league is effectively locking the door on its own history. They want you to believe the WNBA started in 2024. They want you to forget the Air Swoopes and the Houston Comets dynasty. Why? Because you can't sell a revolution if people realize the game was already great before the swoosh took over. The blame game conclusion. Is Caitlin the villain? In the end, Sheryl Swoopes' decision to blame the Clark effect for her professional struggles is both her biggest shield and her biggest weakness. It shields her from the reality that her inaccurate stats and vicious tone have alienated her from the modern audience. But it's a weakness because it makes her look bitter to a generation that values vibe over veteran status. The hidden reality of 2026 is that Caitlin Clark isn't the one firing Sheryl Swoopes. The market is. The market wants Sydney Colson's humor, Caitlin's pregame analysis, and the clean, Nike-approved narrative. Sheryl Swoopes is a glitch in the machine that the billion-dollar industry is currently trying to patch. The final closing for the video. And that is the final, unfiltered breakdown of the Swoopes firing that has the 2026 WNBA season in a chokehold. From the corporate hit job in Beaverton to the rise of the Sid plus TP era in Nashville, the pioneers are officially being told to move aside. But I want to know where you stand. Is Sheryl Swoopes a truth-teller who is being unfairly erased by a toxic media circus? Or is she a bitter legend who simply refused to adapt to the new world? Should Nike have a say in who calls the games? Or has the swoosh officially gone too far? Head down to the comments right now. If you're standing with the Comets Queen and you believe the pioneers deserve more respect, drop a #LegacyFirst in the chat. But if you think it's time for the new guard to take the mic and lead the billion-dollar revolution, drop a #NewWNBA below. Who do you want to see in the booth on May 8th? I'm reading every single comment, and I want to see which side of the generational war is winning. Before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. With the Athletes Unlimited season starting February 4th and the Sunday Night Basketball debut of Caitlin Clark, we are the only channel bringing you the 2026 media wars as they happen. Don't get left behind. Thanks for watching, and stay locked in for the next demolition. The Swoopes scandal of 2026 has officially moved past the point of no return. We've seen the corporate moves in Beaverton, the fan-first shift in Nashville, and the billionaire machine that is currently clearing the runway for the Caitlin Clark CC1. But as the old guard faces its biggest erasure in history and the new era takes the keys to the kingdom, the final judgment doesn't belong to the boardrooms. It belongs to you. Is Sheryl Swoopes a truth-telling pioneer who is being unfairly targeted for refusing to join the Caitlyn cult? Or is she a legend who simply failed to adapt to a league that has outpaced its own history? Is the addition of Sydney Colson a masterclass in modernizing the broadcast? Or is it a vicious way to silence a Hall of Famer who isn't afraid to be critical? This is the debate that is currently tearing the 30th anniversary season apart, and I want your voice in the center of the fire. Head down to the comments right now and let the world know where you stand. If you're standing with Sheryl Swoopes and you believe the pioneers deserve their flowers, not a pink slip, drop a #LegacyFirst in the chat. But if you believe it's time for the new guard to lead the billion-dollar revolution and you're ready for the CC1 era, drop a #NewWNBA below. Who do you want to hear on the mic on May 8th? I'm reading every single comment, and I want to see which side of the generational war is winning the streets. Before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. With the Athletes Unlimited season kicking off in Nashville and the Sunday Night Basketball debut of Caitlin Clark, we are the only channel bringing you the 2026 media wars as they happen. Don't get left behind. Thanks for watching and stay locked in.